Welcome to Just Minding My Business Media. Happy you could join us today. And I am so excited to bring to you today Johnathan Grzybowski, who is the CMO and co-founder of Penji, a creative subscription service revolutionizing how businesses access top-tier creative talent. Bootstrapped from the ground up, Penji has served thousands of clients worldwide and earned recognition as an Inc. 5000 company. Wow, Jonathan.
Pretty
I
cool, right?
Yeah, you've been doing the darn thing.
I'm to me, it's just my life at this point. But I'm very, 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 very blessed to be where I'm at in life and business, and I think we're just getting started, in my opinion.
Yes, yes, because I remember when you first launched this, we had an interview some years ago,
Yeah.
and wow, I can't wait to catch up. So tell everybody what Penji, how Penji does this thing.
Yeah, for sure. So, essentially, Penji's if you need help with graphic design or if you need help with creative services, we're a subscription-based service. You go onto our website, you basically pay, and then you get access to top talent across the world. And if you have a project in mind, all within 24 hours, you'll receive your completed project, and then you do whatever you want with it. So our primary customers are businesses and agencies, businesses that don't have that don't have the ability to hire somebody internally, or maybe their internal team is just overloaded with work. Essentially, you could pay us anywhere from $500 to $1,500 a month, and then it's like hiring somebody in house essentially. So rather than necessarily going through the processes of like interviews and onboarding and talking to them about your culture, telling them about your color palettes and your schemes, you do that directly on Penji, and Penji will do all the work for you.
Wow, you can't get no better than that. That's for sure.
I would like to think so, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, because our companies don't have that ability or the skill to even do it themselves.
Correct. Yeah. I mean, I would say it's more about like, w- um, where do you want to spend your dollar, right? It depending upon where you are in your business. If you're a small business, you're probably doing it yourself. So if you're on Canva or you're doing Photoshop or whatever it is, like that's primarily like where a lot of it is coming from. If you're spending an hour, 5 hours a day on Canva because you're trying to do marketing for your business, I would say that 5 hours is probably better suited trying to get new customers to make sure that you get your money right. And if you have the ability to afford a service like Penji again for $500, then you should probably offload all of your work so then you can focus on sales. A lot of times what I've found is that a lot of business owners, they would rather get in the weeds and they would rather do all the dirty work themselves and save that extra cash rather than thinking about what they could do with all that real time. Does that make sense?
It does. I mean,
Yeah.
you just need to know where to spend the money, you
Yeah,
know.
spend the time. Like, I mean, I'm a father now, and so if I were to be given back 5 hours of my day, right, I would probably spend it, at least two or three of them with my daughter and the other one on the business, right? Like that's okay to be able to do that. And I think a lot of times, especially small business owners, they don't have the capacity to they hold on to their ego a little bit. They hold on to their baby a little bit too strong, and they don't want to necessarily give that time and that money or that resource to a service like Penji. So they ended up doing it themselves, and they go into this endless cycle and this rut of just the spiral, so to speak, where they're just continue. They wake up, they do the same thing every day, they make the adjustments, they try to reach out sales, they don't get a sale, and they go, oh man, okay, on to the next one.
Yeah.
And then it's just that vicious cycle. Whereas, like, if you're trying to make it to the next step, you have to sacrifice.
Yes. Yes, indeed. And it's all about, you know, taking as much off your plate as possible.
100%. Yeah,
Because
I mean, like, if you're a small business owner, you're wearing a lot of hats.
hmm
But at the end of the day, you got to get your money right. You have to pay your bills. And paying your bills should be number one priority.
Yes, it definitely should be. It definitely should be because I know I'm at that place now where I'm delegating, it's still my baby, but I need help. It's only 24 hours in a day, and I don't want to spend most of it doing mundane tasks.
100%. I mean, that's the beauty of AI as well. AI has been a formidable help in a lot of ways for most people. But I still think that the even the AI aspects still can't help you think about what you need. It takes a human to type it.
Mhm.
So, you should be able to use and leverage all the resources that you have available. Now, obviously, if you don't have the resources or the funds to be able to hire somebody like Penji or even somebody in-house, well, then find another alternative. It's still okay to be able to find that alternative. It doesn't have to be Penji. It doesn't have to be an employee. But your goal in your business is to maximize profit as much as you possibly can, right? And it's also to be able to serve people. Because if you're creating a business and you're not helping people, then you just have a hobby. But if you want to be able to actually help people and you want to be able to solve their problem, whatever that problem may be, you you as the small business owner need to allocate as much of that time in order to fix your customers' problems. And that requires you to upsell your customers to a higher plan, or it requires you to find new business.
Yes, yes, and that's always a task in itself. That's a constant task that you should always be focused on. Is more business.
Yeah, for sure.
For,
Yeah, 100%, 100% right. If you don't have sales, you die, right? Like your business dies. And entrepreneurship isn't for everyone, right? Or business isn't for everyone. So that's why Penji exists, right? Like my personal goal and passion in life is to be able to create creative solutions for small business owners at a fraction of the cost of a high-end agency. So rather than you don't need to get a really good you don't need to spend millions of dollars or thousands of dollars on a good graphic on a good logo, right? You don't need to spend $1 million on a good website. You don't need to spend $1 million on, creative outreach and programs and things like that. My hope and my mission and purpose on this planet is to be able to provide those services at a discounted rate so then everybody has an equal playing ground. Now, from a financial standpoint, but the difference between the people who are going to make it and not are the people who know what to do with the money and also know what to do with the service. The services.
yes, absolutely, absolutely. Wow. So let's talk about your humble beginnings.
Yeah. Um, they're pretty humble, I suppose. I don't know. I mean, I'm not like a rich kid. My dad was a FedEx worker. Um, my dad worked for FedEx for 25, 30 plus years, and my mom was a stay-at-home mom. I'm just a kid that wanted more in life than what other people around me have always wanted in themselves. So, I think I'm just a kid that doesn't quit.
And you can't quit. And then once you get so far in your business, quitting is not an option at all. It's you
Yeah, I mean, I'm at a point now where, you know, there are employees that have families, and one woman in particular just had her first child. And, there's people now that it's not just about me anymore in the business. It's about the people that are trusting me and my co-founder to do the right thing. Um, and we need to make sure that we do the right thing. We can't
absolutely,
let them down.
absolutely. And that's one of the things when you get your first employee, it it's like having a baby.
Yeah, for
Immediately
sure.
you have somebody that you're responsible for.
100%. Yeah, and respecting it like it is your own child, even though it's not.
Yes, absolutely. So if people want to get in touch with you, how do they do so?
Absolutely. Penji.co, Penji.co, or if I provided any value to this particular podcast. My email is Jonathan at penji.co, Penji, Jonathan, Johnathan at penji.co.
Yes, yes. Wow. Wow, wow. I'm so glad we hooked up again. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about customer experience.
Yeah,
That seems to be, the buzzword for right now, but not all people, all companies know what it means. So,
sure. Like customer experience. Yeah, I mean, you know, when you first open up an Apple iPhone, right? Um, what do you experience, right? Nostalgia, joy, excitement. Uh, what happens when you open up a glass of a bottle of water? Like not that much excitement. And rightfully so. Uh, so the customer experience to me is probably the most important aspects of all things, simply because it's the first interaction that somebody has with your product or service, and it's the lasting impression that they have on the product or service. So therefore, you as a business owner, you should invest as much money as you possibly can to deliver the best possible experience known to man. In our case, for Penji, we start every conversation, every call, every time somebody becomes a customer with a phone call. Hey, thank you so much for being a customer. We're very grateful. Um, we reviewed your account, and we have some questions. And then from there, it leads to a video call, and then more calls and more video and more video. The idea is to make sure that the customer feels as human and valued as possible, and make sure that they understand that like we as a business truly care about them. We're a B2B business, so we deal with a lot of people like yourself who have children, so to speak, in the form of their business, and we want them to feel that we want them to know that they could trust us with their marketing and their branding.
yes, yes. And that's so important because that's one of my criteria when I work with a business. Can I talk to you?
Yeah, for sure. I would
I
agree.
I hate that push button, press one, press two, and email support, tech support. I hate all of that.
Yeah,
And I think most people do.
I would agree. 100%. Like if you're frustrated or angry, if you want to feel heard, especially from a service standpoint, like you need your question answered, like you need to be able to call a number and talk to somebody directly that's going to be able to solve your problem. You don't want to be waiting on hold for 16 minutes in order to make sure that that problem is solved. You want it done now. And
Yeah.
that's more or less what Penji's trying to do. We want to make sure that if you have a concern or question or thought, like your voice is going to be heard like almost immediately.
Yes. And that is all a part of that customer experience. And it's a very important part. And it
100%.
can be a deal breaker for a lot of people because it doesn't matter how great you are with what you do. If something goes wrong and they can't talk to you, that's a deal breaker.
Couldn't agree more. Hmm.
That's a serious
Absolutely
deal.
couldn't agree more.
I know it is for me. I'm one of these people I like to talk.
Rightfully so. And you should want that, right? Like if you're spending any dollar amount, period, you should work with a company or a service that is able to fulfill that need, or desire, right? Like why waste your time or your money on something that doesn't work for you, right? Like your money is valuable and you should know how to spend that money.
Right.
um and you shouldn't accept anything less than perfection. And it should be that way.
Mhm.
And so I would say that if you are working with an employee, like I actually just got a conversation just now about, is this person in the company performing to the caliber that we want, or are they just meeting the bare minimum of their job expectations? Like you shouldn't want a mediocre person on your team. You should want exceptional. So imagine if you're riding in a boat and you have people rowing on the sides, right? If you're trying
Yeah.
to get to the destination, then how quickly are you going to get there if somebody mediocre is rowing the boat? You want to get there as fast as possible, right? So therefore you should get there as fast as possible, and you should only work with people and teams that are able to push you to that limit. And if that's not that person, then in my opinion, they don't belong in your company or they don't belong on your team. There's nothing against the person. It's just that's just the way it is.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, since you started talking about that, the culture of the company as well is
Yeah,
important to create that quote unquote go beyond the call.
for sure. Yeah. And it's not always going to be perfect. I mean, culture can be defined in a lot of ways. But I just think at the end of it all, like what's most important is treating other people like humans, um, and making sure that people feel respected, even if they're not a good fit for the company, or either if they're not best for business. So company culture in at Penji is more or less about fairness. Are you um treated fairly? Like numbers don't lie, right? So at Penji, everything is quantifiable to the best of our ability. And the reason is because, well, if you can numerically drive business, then that means that um, if it's like you're not making emotional decisions, if that makes
Right,
sense, right? So like
right.
you're if somebody's goal is 100 emails a day, right? And they don't meet 100 emails a day, that's not your fault. That's their fault. And so, as a manager, how are you going to judge that person? You're going to judge them based on the numbers. Now, you could be a philanthropist, you could be Mother Teresa, you could be a saint, but that doesn't take you away that you can't send 100 emails a day. If that's your goal, if that's the metrics, that you have to meet them. So you could be the sweetest, nicest person on planet Earth. You could also be an asshole.
Yeah,
But
true.
you're if you got to hit the numbers. And so now obviously we don't necessarily want to work with people who are, buttholes, but um you know, you hit the numbers and you understand what those numbers are, and you're also inherently a good person. That is a great recipe for a good company culture. But I
Yes.
don't think that you should just create a company based for fun, right? Like it should be ran like a business, and you can have fun along the way. But I think for the most part, it's a business. It's not a hobby.
Right, right. They're two different things. That's for
Very
sure.
much so.
So now that you're a dad,
Yes.
congratulations. Is this your
Thank you.
first?
It is. Yeah,
Oh
it is.
wow. So you're a brand new dad. How old?
She's 6 months.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So
she's
how
six
are
months.
you juggling with the business and being a new dad?
I'm struggling. No, I mean, it's a blessing. It's the best thing that's ever happened to me. And I think I never asked before. Do you have children?
Yes. I have
Um,
one.
one. Awesome. And may I ask like how old?
Oh, he's grown now. He's 28 years old now. But
Love
I
it.
remember like it was yesterday, day
I
one. It was like when he started crying at 2 o'clock in the morning, I thought I was dreaming
nah.
until it got louder.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, 100%. I mean, that's very, I mean, she's 6.5 months and it's gone by in like literally it feels like hours. But I would say from a business standpoint, time is the most valuable asset you could possibly have. And juggling that time frame is really difficult because I'm a different type of tired now. Like I can sit in front of a computer all day and I can sit and finish and solve these equations and problems that I currently have in business. But then I like hang out with her and my wife, and it's emotionally and draining in the best way possible, but it's just a balancing act. Like you really have to be able to know that like, hey, that problem that you have right now could probably wait. Um, because your daughter's smile is far more important than, the problem in the business. Like the business is never gonna just crumble. It can, but it's usually because of cascading events that have happened way beyond that one scenario.
Mhm.
And so how am I balancing it? I feel like it's like the hardest and the best thing. And then another thought too is like, and again, I don't know if you had this scenario, but like as a male, as a man, the society has always said that you need to be like a provider, and there's an inherent type of pressure that I've had as a father to provide, but also be, loving and caring at the same time, if that makes sense.
Yes, it makes
Um,
good sense.
yeah. So like obviously my wife has an amazing job and she loves what she does, and I obviously love what I do. But the goal is to be able to make sure that everybody's happy, safe, and protected, and they never have to work a day in their life. And there's like an added pressure that I love, but a different, it's a different, it means different now, if that makes
Yeah,
sense.
right, right. Once that baby comes, I mean, that first day, it's like, oh my God, I'm responsible for a little person now.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
it's a big job. It's one of the biggest jobs you will ever have in life. I
Very much so agree with that. And it's forever changing too. The first
yes,
3 months I'd say were very difficult, because there's no for me as a first time parent, there's no expectations. I had no idea what to expect. Uh, but then now, like month 6, she's like her personality is showing, and it's like it's magical and beautiful.
yes, yes. Well, congratulations
Thank
and
you.
enjoy every moment of it
Thank
for
you.
sure. Wow, this has been awesome. And before we got on air, we were talking about how I remembered. I think our interview was maybe 4 or 5 years ago, maybe.
Most likely, yeah.
And we had the conversation about you traveling to Vietnam.
Yeah.
And that stuck with me all this time and how important it is to travel.
Yeah. I definitely think it's important to travel. For me in particular, I have business there, right? So like example, the my business partner is Vietnamese. So inherently that's like, that's something that like we have employees in Vietnam. In addition that we now have employees in the Philippines, and we have employees in multiple other countries as well. So for me, when I think of travel, like I'm going there for work, not really for pleasure. But with that said, I think that if you have the means and the capability of doing so, you should travel outside of where you work every single day in order to get a new perspective. And I would also recommend experiencing other people's cultures so then you can be a more informed human being, um, and understand that the how economies work, um, and just talk to different people from different backgrounds so you can gain a more worldly perspective, I'd say.
Yes, I have to agree with you because, everybody has, all the cultures have something different. The
For sure.
food, the beliefs, and it's fun to learn different people why they are the way they are.
100%. And I think it's going to make you a better business professional as well.
Yes,
Like for example, the Vietnamese culture is completely different than America. America is like face down in their phones, face down in their work ethic, and they value their job quite a bit. And then people in Vietnam, it's sure very similar to that, but I would say they're probably more family oriented than most. Um, and they value smaller things. Like Americans want big, lavish, big house, big car, loud, whatever. And I'd say I'm sure there are a lot of people in different cultures that want that as well, but I'm pretty sure that they're probably okay with not having that more than they are the desire of, oh my God, I need it right now.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Wow, this has been amazing. And I we definitely got to do this again. It's been too long.
Yeah. Things have changed quite a bit since we last chatted. I think
Yeah.
five or so years or so ago, the company was probably at, maybe like 25, 50 employees. And now, we have different employees in 10 different countries all across the world, and service thousands of customers on a daily basis. And it's just, I go back to the word blessing. It really is just, it really is just that. And it's been a fun ride. And like I said before, it's just the beginning. Even though
Yeah.
it's been like 5, 10 years or so, it is just the beginning.
Yes. Yes. We're always evolving.
Amen.
Always evolving. Well, thank you so much, Jonathan, for taking time out. I truly appreciate you. And definitely, we're not going to make it this long again because
Yeah.
I always like to chit chat and see what's going on in your world.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a pleasure, and I'm really excited to see you again as well. And I'm really grateful for another episode on this podcast. And I hope that anybody that was listening to this is, there's value in it, and that you learned a lot. And if you didn't, I'm sorry. If you did, awesome. Hit me up anytime. I gave you my email, Jonathan at Penji.co. I'm always available to help.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much. And thank you, audience, for tuning in.